तुम हो जगत के दाता, तुम हो जगत के दाता। आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दे दो, आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दे दो। तुम हो जगत
That's it. Prince Bolwari Shakti, Durga Mata ki Jai. So welcome to each and every one of you. So this is the second night of our ongoing Devi Rath Yatra festival. And again, it is indeed a pleasure to be back here at the residence of Charlie and family. And to join with you all, the members of this community, in celebrating the Navratri festival, in celebrating the Devi Rath Yatra festival. Last time I started telling you that in the age of Kali Yuga, where the mind of individuals is not conducive towards God, is not attracted to God, whatever little effort you make in the age of Kali Yuga will have tremendous benefit. And it has been stated that among the variety of festivals dedicated to the Divine Mother, the Devi Rath Yatra is considered to be one of the most important. And if you look at the format of the Yatra, it is designed for this age of Kali Yuga. If you are not interested in doing puja, if you are not interested in making the effort to do meditation, if you are not interested in hosting yagyas, if you are not interested in going to mandirs, look at what the Devi Rath Yatra does. You don't want to go to God, God is going to come to you. And that only happens in Kali Yuga, the age that we are living in. All of our scriptures declare so many bad things about Kali Yuga. But they all also conclude that in Kali Yuga there is one gem. Amongst all the mud and the grime and the dirtiness of Kali Yuga, there is only one gem. And what gem is that? Bhakti. And in Kali Yuga, the smallest effort that you put in gives you tremendous result. In Satyug, you have to achieve God realization by doing years upon years upon years of meditation, renouncing the world, living the life of a sannyasi from very young, and only then you attain God's realization. In Treta Yuga, the time of Sri Ram, the means of God realization was that of very complex yagyas, fire rituals. Rituals that can go on for days and weeks and months at a time. For example, in Ramayana, you'll hear Bhagwan Sri Ram perform Ashwamedh Yagya. How long did that yagya last for? It lasts for 1 year. When we come to your home to do puja, and the puja is generally an hour long, you just get tired sitting down to hear puja for an hour. You have a yagya taking place, or the shortest duration of time is 1 year. That was in Treta Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, Bhagwan Shri Krishna organized congregational worship. Temple worship came into existence, where he told the devotees, in Dwapar Yuga, half of the time is serious about God, the other half of the people not serious at all. Therefore, gather yourselves together, when you have common interest, gather yourselves together and congregate and worship the Lord. So there is where the temple worship came in. But in Kali Yuga, they don't even want to go to the temple. I'm sure if I take a survey of all of you here, 90% of you sitting here, you prefer to be pulling your coverlet Sunday morning than to go to your mandirs. And you can't tell me a lie, because I manage a mandir too. 90% of you all will prefer to stay at home. You will not see it the interest or the benefit of going to Sunday service. And by the way, there is where you learn it. Not when you come in forums like this, not when you're doing puja, not when you're doing yagya. There is where you practice what you learn. Sunday morning service is designed to teach you what you don't know. In Kali Yuga, where even you are not interested, but because of some good karma you have, you call to the Lord, that form of God comes to you. And so it only took a handful of individuals right in this village to call to the World Mother, and she has come before you. And when she comes, she doesn't only bless those who bring her here through their devotion and through their sacrifice, but all who gather around her, all who gather in her proximity, receives of her grace, her blessings. So before we go into the discourse tonight, let us clasp our hands together, close our eyes, bow our heads. Let us contemplate on Bhagwan Ganapati, he who is the giver of success, the remover of all forms of obstacles, and is always first and foremost among the host of the devatas. We seek the blessings of Devi Saraswati, through whose blessings our intelligence are open, through the blessings of the Guru, who are able to assimilate the knowledge that is departed, and to the World Mother, who gracing us with her presence. kuru me deva sarvakayeshu sarvara Saraswati Mahabhage Vidya Kamala Virochani Vidya Rupe Vishalakshe Vidya Dehi Namostute Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Avatsu Malanam Smaranam Tvariram Karunomi Durge Karunanavishi Naitacya Tattvam Mama Vavaheta Sura Krishnarta Janani Smarante Om Siddhi Mukti Prade Devi Mukti Mukti Pradayani Mantra Murti Sada Devi Mahalakshmi Namostute Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sansrita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Daya Rupena Sansrita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matre Rupena Sansrita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamdaye Viche Namaha Prem se bolo Jagadambika Durga Mata ki Jai. Again, welcome to all of you to joining us in the Devi Rath Yatra Festival. On behalf of myself, on behalf of members of our Saraswati Sangeet Bhakti Mandali, on behalf of the members of the Shri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram, extend the most cordial welcome to all of you to tonight's ongoing Devi Rath Yatra Festival. So first of all, let me see how observant some of you are. Let me see how much of you really need to go to your Sunday service. And by answering some questions, I will tell you whether you really need to go. We will know who go and who don't go. We are currently in the Navratri period, right? And we talk about this year, next year, not next year, last year may be too far away for you to remember. How many days make up the Navratri? 9. 9 days make up Navratri. 9 days and nights. When did the Navratri start? This Navratri, when did it start? Saturday. Shall you have bright people in this village, right? And when will it finish? When will it now, this particular Navratri, when will it finish? Monday will be what day? If it starts on the 1st, Monday will be what day? 10. So check from Monday, the 1st. No, check from Saturday the 1st to Monday the 10th. How many days you getting? What you just tell me Navratri is Navratri. Nava means 9. How do you explain that? Huh? Navratri, 9 days. Question. As Sanatanists, as Hindus, do we use the normal calendar to check all our religious activities? What do we do? What do we use? Huh? What do we use? You use the Patra. Don't tell me the Hindu calendar, but the Patra, they had to use the Patra to make a Hindu calendar. In the Patra, it is 9 days, not 10. Alright? In the Western calculation, you have 24 hours make one day. You learn that in school, right? So you'll have 24 hours, that is a solar day. 24 hours is one solar day. In Hinduism, we check everything according to what? Huh? The sun or the moon? The moon. The moon does not make its cycle around the earth in 24 hours. It can be as short as 18 hours or as long as 30 hours. Alright? So this year, you will appear to have an extra day when you transfer from the Patra to the English calendar. But in reality, it is still 9 days. So don't get confused. The reason why I brought this to your attention last night as well as during the Pitra Paksh, I got some calls asking if Navratri finished on Sunday or Monday. And I was supposed to talk about it last night, but it just slipped my mind. So what day did Navratri finish? Oh Lord. What day are you going to finish now? Very good. One more. So the Navratri will finish Monday, the 10th of October. Right? That will be the last day of the Navratri. And the day after is when we go to the beach to do the Visarjan, the day of Vijaya Dasani. Alright? So, in case you are not sure what day you are going to end your fast, and I don't want to ask anybody how much you're fasting. I might hear what some people might put up their hand. So I might want to feel, I don't want anybody to feel bad. Right? So in case you are doing your Navratri observances, I know at home some of you will be offering your dance, some of you will be doing your Havan, some of you doing your special worship during this period of time. You are not going to end it on Sunday. You are going to end it on Monday. Monday is the correct day when you will complete all 9 days. Okay? In the case that you are going with us to the beach, well then you could do like your burning of your coconut and so on the 10th day at the beach with us. In case you are not taking part in that, you do your last Dara offering on the Monday. Right? You do your last Havan on the Monday or whatever. So let us now move on to the topic of tonight's discussion. Last night we looked at the Divine Mother as she appeared as the daughter of Himavan, and she was given the name of Shailaputri. And we saw the symbolism of Shailaputri Mata, and we also saw that those of the qualities she possessed as a child, and we also look at if you wish for those qualities to be within your child, you as parents have to have those qualities in the first place. Right? If you plant pepper, you're going to get pepper. So when the mouth starts to walk and back answer you, don't hit the child just so, hit yourself first. Right? It does, and we saw also that in Sanatana Dharma there is a fixed procedure that starts even before the conception of the child takes place. The Garbha Samskar is designed in such a way to have a certain quality of soul, take body, to be born in your lineage. We also saw that you must grow with your family, grow and mature with your family. We also saw last night that you can't want to live life as a single person after you become married. And you have to be the first example of your child or your children if you want them to emulate certain qualities. If you want your child to be academically inclined, we're just saying something. Would you be watching TV and lying whole day? You as the parent, you too have to put in that. If you don't want your son or daughter come out smokers and drinkers, would you have those type of things in your home environment? Huh? And then you want to say, tell the child, if I see you doing this, you'll cut it here? Last night we looked at those things, the qualities of Shailaputri Mata and where she got those qualities from. Tonight, we look at the second form of Durga Mata. This is the second day of the Navratri, and this is the form of the Devi that is worshipped on the second day of the Navratri. And this is Brahmacharini Mata. So tonight we are going to look at the teenage years, which can be a very trying and troublesome time for some individuals. And any psychologist or any teacher who interacts or anybody who interacts with children will tell you that it is during the teenage years they either make them or break them. You either have them or you lose them. And tonight we are going to see when this period of time comes, what we have to do, not only as individual teenagers, but as parents. What do we have to do to ensure that our teenage sons and daughters don't go astray? So tonight's lesson, like I said, this Devi Yatra is dedicated towards the holistic development of the family. Last year we dealt with other topics, this year we are dealing with family. You know, we live in a culture where we have everything now is fast, disposable, and reusable, right? So you have instant families popping up. You have families coming with expiry date. You know marriage have expiry date now? You all know that? When all they go to sign all the marriage certificate, tell Baba, ask Baba, what is the expiry date? And we have the recycled nature. You know, we like a foreign use culture. We have a foreign use car, we have a foreign use house. Well, now they have foreign use wife and husband too. So, tonight we are going to look at how we as parents should approach a situation where we have our teenage children, as well as we are going to more focus on these teenagers. Alright? When that time comes, what is your responsibility? And it should strike you right away that if during the teenage years you either make or break, succeed or fail, there has to be something very important that you, the individual, has to do during this period of time. All the information that I'm giving you here, you can get it in our magazines. Huh? Where are the members of the ashram with the books? Any of them here? Alright, so you have Patsy over here, and you have other members of the ashram. You have the various magazines. This is the one on Durga Mata. Those of you who sometimes just call me, Baba, what to do for Navratri? They have a procedure here that you could do. Every procedure is in these books that are published by us takes into consideration you doing your own worship at home. Then we have the one on Lakshmi Mata. Those of you who are having financial problem or wish to do your puja on Diwali day, you may not be fortunate to have a pandit coming by your house. Follow that and you will have your puja done completely. Then you have this year's publication on Saraswati Mata. You have children struggling in school, or you yourself is having some difficulties in school, or as a parent you are having trouble with your children. Follow the procedure that is given in the puja vidhi that is given with Saraswati Devi. When there is ignorance in the mind, or the mind is underdeveloped, you have deviant behavior being portrayed. But the more mature you become mentally, the more disciplined the mind becomes, and there's the Saraswati Mata comes. Alright? So tonight, let us look at Brahmacharini Mata. Devi Brahmacharini, last night we saw her as Shailaputri, the little girl. I was 6-7 years old, a little girl. One day, Narad Muni, he visited Himavan and Maina. And after visiting, Narad liked to play games. And Naraji, his real intent was to go to get the darshan of the Divine Mother. But he has to disguise things in such a way that he comes there to discuss a matter of importance. And in so doing, he's hoping to get the darshan of the Divine Mother. Naraji, who is the son of Lord Brahma, through his yogic insight, he knows this form of the Divine Mother, this childlike form is no other than Durga Mata incarnate. Through the vision of his third eye, he is able to see that. So the Divine Mother, she is growing up. She has reached her teenage years. And Nadaji, he visits the home of her parents and he arranges a meeting with her father, Himavan. Hearing that Nadaji has arrived, the great saint he was, although he was a king, he is a very virtuous king. He welcomed Nadaji and offered him a seat and extended his hospitality to him. Having rest and refreshed himself, Himavan requested of Narad, "O Narad, there must be some purpose to your visit. For it is well known that your presence at any venue is not by accident. There is always a reason for you coming." And while this conversation was taking place, this little child, she was very attached to her father. So wherever the king goes, Himavan goes, his daughter would follow, once it is possible. So he gone in his private chamber, in his private room, and he and Narad, they are having a discussion, a matter of importance. And this little girl child, like any little child, she will sit at a little distance and play with her toys. And Narad would keep looking at the child and staring at her. But in his mind, he's bowing down to her. And so the Divine Mother, who knows the heart of the devotee, she simply raised her head and smiled at Nadaji. And tears started to flow from his eyes. The mother acknowledged him. Leaving her toy, she comes close to where her father Narad was sitting. And she places her hands on Narad. Grabbing hold of her hands, he turns to her father and said, "O Himavan, your daughter is destined to be the wife of no other than Lord Shiva. She is no other than the Divine Mother in this human form." And the Divine Mother now playing the Leela along. Himavan is very surprised. And so he and Maina, they start having the discussion. And like a father who is very attached to any of his children, he started to make excuse why he is ready to let the child get married yet. And the mother, she's saying she's going to marry Lord Shiva. She grew up as a princess and she has to go and live in a cave. These are all legitimate questions a parent will have. But Shaila Putri Mata, upon hearing that she will become the wife of Bhagavan Shiva, what did she do? She left the room and she goes on the Sri Shaile hills and she sits herself down in a comfortable posture, in a comfortable region, and she starts to do tapasya. She starts to do penance. And while she is doing that, unknown to the parents, they are arguing amongst themselves why the child should not get married yet. And if she do get married, how she will live? Lord Shiva doesn't have any significant source of income. He lives in a cave. So this is showing you, the parents, while the topic here is marriage, it shows that when your children becomes responsible to take up positions in society, that is moving from something as simple as primary education. By the way, what is the first major encounter your child will have in his or her life? Huh? What is the first major challenge your child, your son or daughter will have to go through in their life? All of you here who have children, think, even if your children are big now, think back from small. When is the major challenge that your son or daughter will face? The first major one in his or her life? School. And here the assumption is your child is not born with any kind of critical health issues and so on. We're talking about a normal, healthy child. The first major encounter your child will have is not necessarily the standard 1 and the standard 2, you know. Where it will be? You know, it has something called SEA these days. In these days it was common entrance. Right? Success at that gives you an indication of their potential. And you will hear everybody have their own take on it locally. But if you look at all of these first world countries, there have to be some medium of testing to separate those who are at a certain level from those who are underachieving. Look at all the European countries. You have a test to go through. Most of the North American schools. The system we inherited follows the British system. The only thing changed is the examining body. We no longer do GCA, we do the CXC. But the structure is the same. So as a parent, you try and reflect when your son or daughter was reaching that critical stage in their development, in their education. Very often you will hear yourselves telling your neighbors or your family or your relative, the child get homework and do their son homework for the parent too. And? Child get project, mother or father have project to do and all. But what are you doing there? What are you doing there? If you tell your son or daughter, look, go and do your homework, and you show no interest in it, you take no emphasis in guiding your son or daughter, what are you doing? You're doing two things. You are failing as a parent. You are not doing your parental responsibility. You're not fulfilling your parental duties. And secondly, you're not allowing your son or daughter to achieve their potential. Just as in school, the teacher would guide them when they have their academics to do. At home, that same process has to continue. Last night we saw, how do you get good at something? If you want to perfect something, how do you become good at that? Repetition. You do it over and over and over again. Remember last night we talked about the circle roti as compared to the Trinidad map roti? Huh? Or how did you reach here from Trinidad map to circle? Huh? Doing it over and over again, right? So too, with your child's development, you have to do it over and every day you have to do it over and over again. And it's only when they see you investing that time and that effort in their development, are they going to appreciate your sacrifice? They are going to learn to depend on you. They are going to trust you. They will know for sure when they run into problem, just as they will encounter a problem in their maths book or their language arts book, Mommy, Daddy, help me with this. That may look insignificant to you, but 10 years, 20 years down the road, it is that same skill that developed there. You will come and say, Mommy and Daddy, I'm having a little problem in my life. Where did they learn to do that from? They had that confidence, they had that trust in you. Because you showed them how much you cared about them. You fulfill your duties as a parent. You lay the foundation of trust and open the doors of communication to them. And by so doing, you forge that relationship with them. That doesn't mean to say they are going to back answer you anything, eh? Children will be children. Even adults, some adults behave worse than children too. They're going to have good times and bad times, but when things reach at a critical mass, at a serious state, they know where peace and security is, where they can get the help, where they can't get the help. Now you as a parent, or boy, go from here and do your homework on site. When things get rough, you know, when I was doing teacher training, I had a scenario we had to act out. And it had the situation was as such. A little boy, and he was the father. The little boy learning to draw, and he's so excited about him to draw, he wants to show his father it, and his father watching football on TV. But not now, son. Boy get a little older, he learned to color, he learned to write. He get good compliments from his teacher, he's writing perfectly, he's writing neatly. He wants to show his father, not now, son. He gets older, he passed for the school of his choice, not now, son. And so the father, every major achievement this boy made, father didn't have time. Until one day the father got old and struck down by a heart attack. And he called the boy. And what did he say? Not now, Dad. Where that came from? Exactly. It came from the home. So you never know something as simple as spending time with your children in doing homework and helping them sort out mathematical problems or language problems or science and social studies problems will have such far-bearing reaches in your personal life. You didn't look at it like that. You know why? Because we as Trinidadians, we like to think in a box. There is no transfer of knowledge. You don't transfer your skills. That is why when I was in USA, we have a lot of educated people, but they dotish too bad. You have some of them fellas, they will watch an engineering diagram and put them to wire simple light. They can't do it. Some of them fellas, they have a master's degree, PhD in chemistry. Unless they don't see a beacon and test tube in front of you, they cannot apply their analytical skills in the outside world. By helping your children with the schoolwork, you are forging a bond, you are reassuring your children. When difficult times come, you have them, you have their back. But if you don't do those things, the day will come when you will really need somebody to do something for you, and you will come and complain. You know, them children are so worthless. They're ungrateful. But if you don't do what you have to do from the beginning, spend time with them. Who is going to spend time with them? You see all them straightaway friends and so-called friends that are all over the place? Them is the one who will give them the attention. Them is the one who will indoctrinate them into certain types of behaviors and attitudes. And then you will be the one to want to put them out of the house. They're crying out for your help at home, and you running them or turning your back on them. And when they're getting the attention from outside, unfortunately, it's not the good kind of attention that draws honorable remarks to them. It's the kind of attention that the police are always looking for them. And then you want to tell your son and daughter, don't bring no shame and disgrace in your house. And these are very real situations in today's society, you know. One girl come by me, 22 years, I don't know what is happening with these little children these days. She telling me she don't know how they get pregnant. I say, well, how different kind of breezes blow where you live in? Huh? You better be careful the water you're drinking too. She pregnant. She want to find out who's the child father. What are you asking me who's the child father about? I was watching all the way, not doing nothing. come to ask me where child father and how you get pregnant, asking me how I get pregnant.
They are in Patra.
Huh?
They are in Patra.
What?
Who is child father? How come to ask you that?
Yes, some stupid people out there, you know. Every little thing happened to us, you had to run by Baba and tell them everything. That's why I said, go see a doctor, go see a lawyer. Did that fall in my category? So the ones who were giving her the attention on the outside here that caused that to happen, and then the mother and father want to push up their face, put out the child. But they should put themselves out too. The same consequences you are laying down for the child, do that to yourself too. You see, if you don't form a social network around yourself, a safety security net around yourself and your home, when you see invaders from the outside start to come by way of their attitude and their behavior, it is only you to blame for that. And it doesn't start when they are teenagers. It starts very young. The same child, when he's learning to talk, he says the cuss word, everybody clapping and laughing, the child talking. When he reaches 7, 8 years and he busts one for you in front of the teacher, you want to slap him, right? You're going to hit him that time. But when he becomes 15, 16 years and you raise your hand to crack him, right back it coming to you. Where it come from? That 1-year-old, 2-year-old that he was laughing and clapping. But he laughing and cracking you now. So the scenario that is being played out here by Maina and Himavan is teaching us who are already parents and we have children, analyze, assess. As parents, you all are supposed to have holistic goals and development plans for your children. Not only what the teacher sets is supposed to be the goals of your children. Because then you end up in the same situation. You are well qualified in terms of certificates and degrees, but you don't know how to live in the outside world. And those of you who interact with the outside world, it's not nice outside here these days, you know. When you think you have a stable government job, it's because somebody gives you pressure to go to work. So you don't want to go to work in the morning. If you have good interpersonal skills, it's because something else given trouble. It always have some kind of problem. But if you don't rise to the challenges by developing yourself and developing those around you, you know, there are some families, instead of supporting each other, they are like a parasite to each other. Especially when you see drugs and alcohol are involved. Huh? Some homes are very toxic. That is why you have so much of dysfunctional family units. And they carry that same degree of dysfunctionality into the school and to the society. And these are the type of parents. When the police shoot their son or their daughter, oh, he was a good boy. Huh? They find him 6, 7, 8 joints in top of them, high-power rifle, but he is a good boy. So which category do you want to put yourself in? Look at the questioning of Maina. Look at the questioning of Himavan. He knows his child. You know, there's a saying, once there's a parent, especially if you have an only child, your child will always be a popo. Huh? You wouldn't grow up to the father, attachment. But he also knows the competence of his child. The mother, her thinking was the future of the child. She's going to marry Lord Shiva, no problem. But where's she going to live? Where she will get sustenance? You know, some will come, son and daughter come and say, Ma, Dad, I want to get married. Love don't pay your light bill. They don't put food in your table, you know. They don't pay your mortgage. They say, I love you, let me get married. As far as I'm concerned, you love me, no problem, show me a bank account too. But you see how fast love can turn to hate when you see you can't get food to eat? When you can't get the basic necessities of life? And those things don't come so easy. You know, just the other day, somebody come to see me in my office and hear the comment he gonna make after the child done born. If I only know having a child was so expensive, I would not hand on. You know, baby milk more expensive than people milk, big adult milk. Right? So he's a taxi driver. And when they had the children, you can't drink milk like how we open a pack of milk and think they had a special type of milk, they had a special type of cereal. Well, and one of them pan of milk maybe about the cost of 3 times or 4 times the cost of we could buy 4 times the amount of milk for that. For adult. Every 2-3 weeks they had to get something new. Again, lack the ability of proper planning and organizing their life. So Maina and Himavan questioning and thinking, is their daughter personally equipped? Has she developed at a basic level? And if so, what is her future? If I allow her to get involved in this marriage, can she sustain herself? Where is she going to live? How many of you just think like this? When your son or daughter come and say they're ready to get married? Huh? All you know, some of you don't fall in love and some of you capsize. And when you capsize, you hit your head. That's true? So again, all important milestones in life, you need not only at an individual level, but as a family unit, especially if it has long-term consequences, far-reaching consequences, you have to sit with your child. There is no procedure in any textbook that says to be a successful parent, you must do the following. There is no book anybody could write to tell you those things. There is no amount of therapy you could go to any psychologist to say to do this, that, and the other, and you are guaranteed to be a successful parent. So look at Maina and look at Himavan and see how they are managing their teenage daughters and emulate those things. Very often we'll ask children, who are your role models? And again, them calling some kind of character names I don't even know about. Where's the latest one, right? Huh? Them Justin Bieber and last thing I know about a beaver was an animal was a bite wolf. And them kind of characters. But they fail to realize when they're performing on a stage, it's a show they're putting on. That is not in reality their lifestyle. That is a show. You're paying them to come and perform for you, but they're performing. When you see Terminator and thing on TV, well, I from a few years ago, so I know Rambo and the Terminator and all them kind of thing. Right? When you see them fellas performing them kind of thing on TV there, you think them actually living that every day? They're doing their work, they're making money to entertain you. It's you to catch the foolish ones to catch. When they go home, you want to play Rambo, you want to play Terminator. Huh? One fella playing Terminator, his wife terminates, she married with him. That is not their lifestyle, so why you are using that as your role models? You have to choose role models which will have positive impact on you. You know, little children in primary school these days with these comic books. Who is the superhero? Huh? One fella jump as Superman, the other one jump as Spider-Man, the other one jump as Iron Man, the Indian boy jump as Hanuman. Yeah, everybody ending with man. Yeah. So he jump up as Hanuman. So if that is your category of role models, so then if father come up and say, Hanuman is the hero of heroes. So these are supposed to be your role, Sri Ram, Sri Krishna. These are supposed to be your role models. If your parents are very responsible in their parental duties, those are supposed to be your role models too. Even if your father is an alcoholic or your mother is an alcoholic, and they're beating you and abusing you, they are teaching you something here, what not to do. You know already, because mommy and daddy drinking, are getting licks every weekend. They don't have money to buy anything in the house except rum. Sometimes we had to go to school without books, sometimes we had to go to sleep without food, because rum more important. Therefore, when I grow up, I am not going to indulge in rum. So they are teaching you that way, in a very harsh way. But to have that mature sense of thinking, it comes when the parents instill it into you, and in having a positive environment around you, and a positive role models around you. So Maina and Himavan, they are assessing the suitability of their daughter to enter into the Grihast ashram. Shaila Putri Mata knows within herself she's ready. And what did she do? She goes and sits on the peak of the mountains and she starts performing tapasya. And what do we mean by tapasya here? Tapasya is not what means literally, it's a Sanskrit word that means sacrifice. And tapasya doesn't mean to say you have to stand up like a yogi in one foot, control your breathing. That is yogic tapas. The tapasya of a grihasti, of a householder, is to bring up a healthy family, create a healthy family unit, and be responsible in discharging your parental duties to your children. That is the tapasya of a grihasti, a householder. The tapasya of a child, from the time you enter into school, your tapasya will be to focus on your education. And this will determine whether you succeed or fail in life. So if a child continues to play with his or her education, you are not going to get the good subjects that you are looking for. You are not going to go more advanced. You are not going to get the jobs that you desire. And you are going to become a failure in life, a failure in society. When frustration sets in and you say, well, you know, I don't have a house, I don't have a car, I can't afford to pay my mortgage, I can't afford to pay my rent because of the kind of job I have to do, or I'm not getting regular jobs because of my skills, or I have very little skills or no skills at all, then the ills in society, like the bandits, you'll become a bandit. If you get desperate, you want to take things without working for it. But if as a responsible child, you apply yourself in something as simple as your education. Very often, when I was to be teaching secondary school, one of these boys, and when they want to play, they could, you know, they learn a little bit and they feel their brain big for their head. They say, teaching me quadratic equation, how that going to help me in life? Teaching me vectors and matrices, how that going to help me in life? When you graduate, you may never do another maths problem like that. But what that problem is doing for you is opening up your intellect, opening up your mind to a different level of thinking. It is opening up your intelligence in such a manner that you are able to think critically and to problem solve. And that is what we are lacking in this society. Again, we have too many graduates who learn by rote. You take them out of their comfort zone, they are not able to transfer what they have learned to the day-to-day living in society, and they are lost. They are educated in terms of certification, but by no means are they educated in terms of life. So those are the categories of people, and it's a growing category we have worldwide that we call it qualified fools. Qualified in terms of degree, they're certified, but they're foolish, they can't live simple life at all. They don't know. If you don't put a computer in front of some of these children, they can't exist. In we days was marble pitch and hopscotch and all kind of things. Huh? Nowadays is nothing wrong with it. It is a tool to be used, but like everything else, moderation is important. You have to let your children live in the time that they're living in. Some of our parents, you didn't grow up with a computer and you want to deny your children the luxury or the benefit of having such technology in your home as a developmental tool. That is very wrong. Your children have to live in the present. Your lifestyle, your present is not their present. The world that you inherit is definitely not the world that your children will inherit. They have to live their life according to the time that they exist in. But as a parent, it is your responsibility to teach them how to discipline themselves with everything they do in life. Everything has its own course, it has its own discipline ritual to it. For example, take something simple like what you do every day. Everybody eats food every day, right? But if you overdo it with the eating, what's going to happen after a few years? You'll start to get a belly, you'll start to get cholesterol, you'll start to get diabetes, you start to have your blood pressure, and if you continue along that line, what's going to happen? You're going to drop dead sometime, right? But that comes from eating, and eating is something you must do to live. But you abuse, some of us, we abuse. There's some of we don't eat to live. We live to eat, only to satisfy the craving of the tongue. You're not going to eat a big plate of food. You walk on the road, you see the husband, hey, give me $5 there. You walk down a little distance, not less than 100 feet, you're smelling the neighbor doing barbecue. Huh? You're coming up the road, you see the snowball man. And then what will it go? And in a few years' time, you drop dead. Think a next example. How many of you have bathed every day? Overdo it, you know you're going to bleach your skin and so on, right? And you have health issues with your resistance and all that kind of thing. When you don't do it, what will happen? There are a few days pass and you don't bathe, huh? You're going to have a different set of problem around you. So everything is moderation, right? So Shaila Putri, who became Brahmacharini Mata now, what did she do? She started off at a moderate level. She went on the peaks of the mountain and she starts performing simple devotion. She's going to win over the heart of the God of gods. In order to achieve Shiva, she knows she has to make sacrifice. If one day you want to have a big executive job and you must work towards getting your MBA, but where getting that MBA comes from, you have to start preparing from before SEA. If one day you want to become a big surgeon, becoming a big surgeon don't fall from the sky just so. You have to be setting your mode, yourself, in that mindset of becoming a doctor of a certain caliber from primary school age. Shaila Putri Mata, she becomes Brahmacharini Mata, and there she is focused only on winning over Shiva. This is why during the teenage years, if your children lose focus of the things that are important in their development, you are going to lose them. And the most important element in any teenage child years is to make yourself qualified, not only academically, but qualified to face life in terms of life skills. I remember, and I'm sure those of you who are adults, my age and a little older, who went through the common entrance system, you know, some of us, when you come from a traditional home like I came from, when common entrance done, what your mother and father was to have you doing? Your mother, she have you in the kitchen, teaching you to cook. You know you'd have some teenage girls today, and I'm not bashing anybody, but it's the reality of the society that we live in. If you don't have McDonald's, if you don't have KFC, if you don't have Pizza Hut, they go hungry. I just admire some of these young girls, you know, when I watch their fingernail, and I see it have all kind of stud and thing in it, polish up in all kind of way. Or you cooking food, girl? Baba, I have a phone and I have everything on speed dial here. Where you want? Chinese? Press on the button and in a few hours, about half hour, or what time you're getting it delivered. Let me give you an example of how serious this, we're joking about this, but let me tell you how serious this is. A few years ago when I was in Miami doing press, I asked a little boy who born and grew, he's a white, they're white people, born and grew in the US. Where does he get milk from? He said, I get from Walmart. You are laughing at that, but you know the boy never see a cow in his life. He never came outside of his city. And it had me thinking, everybody laughing at each other, it had me thinking, that is the experience he has. I tell the father, I see when summer come, take him and go and drive, take him to that farm. And there for the first time he saw what a cow was. And he learned, when I went back the other year, I see a cow and I see how they milk in it. He didn't know the cow milk was to come from the body of a cow. You know, when he want milk, he go Walmart and he get it. I grew up with animals, but my daughter didn't grow up with animals. But you know what we used to do when she was much younger? Well, in them days, Castle had animals. When she gets school holidays, we go and drive around, show she animals in the farms and so on. Don't have the experience that I had, but she gets it in that way. Brahmacharini Mata, in her sacrifice, she's focused. And this is what you as teenagers have to do. Because of the changes your body is going through, your mind will also lose focus from time to time. And there is where the responsibility of the parents comes, to ground you, to redirect you. There is where, once you forge a relationship with your parents, with your teachers, with your guardians, with your pundit, there is where your holistic development takes place. Again, I started off by telling you, 90% of you here just refuse to go Sunday service. It is in the teenage years, the benefits of the Sunday service shows itself. When the child starts to be exposed, when this one come in and say, come to church, come to mosque, nothing wrong if I have a Muslim friend or a Christian friend. But when they say, when they start telling your son or daughter, throw away the book, throw away the guitar, pick up the Bible. When they start interfering with the very core structure of your home, of your identity, and this is what has had a pong in some of my daughter's head especially. Nothing wrong you're going to get married, nothing wrong you're going to marry somebody outside your religion, although I will not advocate it. But if that is your choice, no problem. But if he or she loves you and wants to build a life with you, he or she must accept you for who you are. And what you are is what you inherit from your parents. Your traditions that you practice make you who you are. Therefore, if you want to marry and settle, you have to be open-minded to what developed me as I am. Don't change me. Then you don't love me. You don't want to build a life with me. You want to mold something into the fashion and format that you want. I do have a USB port where you can plug in a program, you know. You don't come with a flash drive and say, hey, chook that, and you download, and you behave in a certain way. If that is where you want, every year let's bring a dirt movie from India for you. I will bring a dirt statue and you put it in a corner. Dress it up, you have no problem with it. Actually. Dress him up when you want, feed him when you want, and no back answer.
Have you talked about it? Have you talked about it?
If that is the kind of husband or wife you want, that is the option you have. So Shaila Putri Brahmacharini Mata is showing to remain focused, remain true to yourself. That is what she is doing. She is expressing her own individual identity in such a manner that she is making the sacrifice to achieve her goal. Sometimes we as parents, we have to understand our children have their own personalities. While they're supposed to be guiding and molding and shaping their personality, they will have traits unique that you don't have. And those will be their strong points if it's developed properly. So she's undertaking this austerity. When news reached her father that she's performing Shiv Puja, he was a bit concerned at the beginning, but after learning what she is doing and observing and monitoring what she is doing, he did not interfere, for he was satisfied what his daughter was doing at that stage in her life was conducive for her own development. And this is something you teenagers have to understand. Not every movie come out, you have to run and watch it in the cinema. Not every show they show it on TV, you have to sit down behind the TV and watch it. You have to give up certain things to get certain things. Not every game that comes, you have to run and buy it. And when you guide your development, you as teenagers, you discipline yourself in such a way. I am sacrificing watching this movie or going to I'm sacrificing going to cinema. I'm sacrificing going on this line and that line now. Because exams right around the corner. Once I achieve my subjects, when I get my subjects or my degree, I'll have all the time, not just to watch one movie, but to watch as much as I could. That time I don't have to watch one movie at home. I will be able to buy a nice big screen TV to look at it myself. I don't have to depend on my mother and father driving me to take me to the cinema. I'll be able to cup my foot in my own BMW and go where I want to go. But to reach there, you have to sacrifice. And in order to sacrifice, you must have a focused goal. What are you going to make sacrifices for? ISIS does make sacrifice. Al-Qaeda does make sacrifice. Are there sacrifices they're making conducive to human development? So to you as teenagers, you need to be guided by those who are more experienced, that is your teachers, your parents, your gurus. And focus your goals on set your goals on the guidance that they have given to you and work towards it. If you really want to play the fool, you know, I have to put you to sit down to do your homework date and to show me your writing, but you're learning nothing at all, you know. If that is the type of mentality you have, you're going to suffer for it later on. And I know as teenagers, not everything your mother and father tell you, you will agree with it 100%. But it is your responsibility to at least listen to it and analyze it for what it is without saying, this man, this old man, and this old lady only bugging me. And some of you parents just really overdo it too, eh? Again, let your children live in the time that they growing up in. And Shaila Putri Brahmacharini Mata, as time go by, she move away from simple job and she starts to do Hawan. So she moved from one stage of her development to another stage. And her father is monitoring this all along. Then she goes to that stage where she starts to observe vrat, that is to abstain from eating. Although her parents are concerned, they continue to look just as your children. They are reaching critical exams. And you as a parent, you will sit down sometime in the night and wonder, I wonder if my son or my daughter is going to do well in exams. And it's more critical when the SCA time comes, not so much when the CXC time comes, because the experience that I've gotten from primary school, they just transfer that to secondary school, and by then they are more mature, they are more developed, so they are better able to cope with it. So when we celebrate Navratri, you see what we are celebrating? It's not just making Lopsy and Sohari and coming and doing Arati and putting neem leaf here and there and thing. When we are in the company of our Divine Mother during these 9 days and nights, it is a stage of development we go through. Whether we are child, whether we are teenager, whether we are an adult, we are all developing. And one day automatically flows into the other day. So Shaila Putri Mata, depending on the stage she has reached, she modifies her sacrifice. So too, depending on the stage of your development as teenagers, you have to modify your sacrifice. For example, the effort you put in when you was in primary school will be far different from the effort you put in secondary school. And moving away from the school scenario, you will have responsibilities in the home. Developing as an individual does not only depend on schooling. You have to learn your family traditions. You have to learn survival skills. You have to learn to cook. You have to learn to wash. You have to learn to clean. But one day to come, you will have to do these chores on your own. And some of you parents, don't talk about the boy children. Half all in here responsible for the stupid state of affairs with some other boy children. One boy I have, everything is for he. Let him sit down. Let the girl go and wash the wares, wash the clothes. Let him sit down. Let him do what he wants. Doing everything and getting away with it. Huh? One day, and when the day comes that he put you out, huh? When he put you out, he drop a good cocktail on you. You will want to know why he doing those things, but you make him do those things. Again, I go back to the way, the tradition I grew up under. After common entrance, whether you was boy or girl, you had to learn to cook and do everything. In the days when we had animal, whether you boy or girl, you had to go and say what cow. When grandfather bring in rice, we have to share what to do with the fanning of the rice and thing. Boy or girl, you can't say boy or girl, nah? You have to learn to do everything. And those are the survival skills. You never know how your life will turn out in the future. You can only plan and hope for a good future. But should adversity be your lot, at least you'll be able to take care of yourself if things doesn't go the way you have planned. And sometimes in life, in the process of developing our goals, things doesn't always go the way we want. Sometimes while you as a student doing what you are doing could be struck down by some kind of sickness, you have to know how to adjust. And it always comes back. Look at the graduates, they're coming out with their degrees, but take them out of the classroom and they cannot function. You have to adjust your lifestyle. So when adversity comes, nothing in this world remains permanent, you know. Nothing remains permanent. So there is no textbook procedure follow these rules and everything is going to turn out the way it turned out for your parents or grandparents. There's no rule like that. You have to live your life in the present time that you exist in. And situations will change, time and circumstances will change. So Shaila Brahmacharini Mata, she's teaching us that she manipulates her sacrifice, she manipulates her goal, her objective, according to the stage of development she has reached. And what happened? In the end, Bhagwan Shiva appears before her. That is the final goal that she achieved. So too, think about how proud you and your parents would feel to see you graduating with your degree. Or how proud you will feel when you enter into a house and say, this is my home. How proud you'll feel when you sit down behind the steering of a car and said, this is, I work for this. But to get those things, it didn't come just so. It requires you years of work, toil and sacrifice to put you where you were in a position to achieve that. Take for example, we have some farmers amongst us. If you plant arrows today, you're going to get arrows tomorrow morning. You have to work that land for a few months well before you could dig a bag of arrows. Isn't that so? Those of you who are into business, the way your business started up 10, 20 years ago, is it the same way today? Providing you are practicing prudent business practices? No, everybody wants their business to grow. So the sacrifice you will be making when you now started off 10, 20 years down the road, then you'll be able to drive the big car, have the big house, or have a status in society that is befitting your achievement. And this is what Shaila Brahmacharini Mata is teaching us. As we go through, we adjust our sacrifice, we keep focus on our goals, and we have to adapt to time, place, and circumstances. And while we are doing this on ourselves, our parents, which represents the voice of wisdom, they will have keep monitoring. And then when the parents doing their part and the teenagers doing their part, only then you will have a successful son or a successful daughter, well qualified in society. Prem se bolo Jagadambika Mata ki jai. So tonight, you teenagers, you see what are your goals, what are your responsibilities, parents, what you have to do as a responsible parent when you reach that critical stage in your children's life. You lose them in teenage years and you are a failure. But if they remain grounded, then they will achieve their goals despite whatever obstacles that comes their way. So while we have Hawan in progress, we will have one or two bhajans and then we have our concluding arati. That way, those of you who will be remaining here overnight, but those of you who wish to do your offerings, even if you didn't come prepared, that is, you bring things like fruits and flowers and so on. There are some flowers, just come and do arati then. Even if you have no flowers and no leaves to offer, there's a lighting on the dairy, come and do your arati. And as we talk on the topic of arati, you know, some of you don't use your common sense a little bit. Huh? You have a big deer with a blazing fire in front of you. Why you want to push the thing up in front of the multi face for? Huh? When you're doing arati, people use some reasoning and common sense now. When you're doing your puja at home, think about yourself. If you're going to, same thing when you're offering parsa too, you want to push it in front of the multi face. You know, if she opens her mouth and tell you, move that thing in front of me, you're going to drop it and run. Huh? Think about you, when you're going to eat food, just push the plate right up to your face. Be reasonable in your thinking. You hold it at a comfortable distance. And the same thing with the camphor too, with the arati. If doing arati you manage to topple over anything, at a safe distance it may not fall on the murti. But if you push it right up to your face and do the arati, and if an accident happens and fall, and then you fall and she close and burn up everything, we don't want to discourage nobody from coming up and doing any offering. But use your common sense for God's sake now. All it requires, and if you know how some people kind of clumsy, If you know you fall in the clumsy category, I put nobody there. Stand up in front of the baby and put everything on the baby, but the rituals are done on the baby. Alright? Use a little common sense whether you're doing puja over here or at home. You don't push it up to somebody's face. I can tell you about that because some people doing RT for me and I'll stop them and tell them go back. I have seen already where in Yagya, Pandit, they're doing RT of Pandit, it falls from the hand and falls into the kurta. Accidents can happen. So nobody is excluded from doing your worship or doing your offering. The Murti will be here overnight. In the morning you will come and do your offering. At the end we'll get information as to what time you'll be leaving and so on. And come and take the opportunity to do your offerings. Alright, but when you're doing your offering, be safe. Be observant, be alert. Prem se bolo, Jagadambika Mata ki jai.
Dhimita dhimita dim, dhimita dhimita dim, nache bhola na. Dhimita dhimita dim, dhimita dhimita dim, nache bhola na. Dhimita dhimita dim, dhimita dhimita dim, nache bhola na. Dhimita dhimita dim, dhimita dhimita dim, nache bhola na.